Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back again to Project Lexi. And today's video, we're gonna talk about the different types of beast build in Axie Infinity. So this may include common and some expensive builds that we might see on high-ranking players, but of course, we will be limiting our discussion on beast Axies that are pure build. So first things first, when we say pure build, all parts which includes but not limited to the mouth, horn, tail, and so on must fall under the beast axis category. And as we all know, pure build axes have more advantages and utility in terms of breeding and gameplay. But of course, there is always an exception to this, especially playing at high MMR rank wherein pure breed axes are no longer advantageous. So alright, before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get started. So first on our list is the famous Rimp Donut build, which is also known as the Ronin Imp plus Dual Nutcracker build. Basically, this build has more early game burst potential and energy recharge when played with the right card combination. This would instantly burst any shielded tank in a matter of seconds, and this build is very common nowadays, and usually you can see it playing as a mid laner Axie. As with Ronin, guaranteed critical strike when comboed with at least 2 other cards. Yes, it's kinda overpowered, but for me, it's very conditional, as this would require you to utilize 2 cards in order to proc its effect, but in most cases, this would guarantee you an instant kill. In addition, Ronin is always combined with Imp or the Ivory Stub, thus gaining additional 1 energy per critical strike dealt by your teammate this round, and again 1 energy per critical strike dealt by your team, which means any form of critical strike would gain you an additional energy, and that's why it is very common for Rimp user to use the remaining cards on the same round where Imp is activated, thus gaining them an additional energy per critical strike. Alright, and finally, we have the Dual Nutcracker, also known as the Donut. One is melee and the other one is range. The passive is very self-explanatory. When comboed with another Nutcracker card, deals additional 120% damage on enemies. So this build costs around, I think, $500 lowest price as of now, and that would be depending on the purity and breed count, but if you're only after for SLP farming and PvP arena, I would suggest to look for at least 4/7 breed count, and this would make the price less expensive compared to its lower breed count counterparts. Disclaimer guys, all prices here are always subjected to changes, and I only use this as our preferences, so please do your research first before buying Axies on the market. Next one, we have the support type beast, or also known as energy gain / disruptor build. This build is same from the previous one, except that instead of the dual nutcracker, we replace it with the Goda, which is also known as your piercing sound, and Cottontail or Luna Absorb. This build is somehow weaker than the previous one, but its energy gain potential is very high, especially in the early game. As with Goda, you can easily destroy your opponent's energy without any requirements needed or condition to be met, compared to other energy destroyer and steal cards, which requires you to use an additional cards to activate its effect. Cottontail, or also known as Luna Absorb, plays a significant role in this energy recharge combo. as this would provide you energy without any cost. Again, without any cost, and could remove some of the negative debuff effect to your Beast Axie. For instance, the stun effect could easily be removed by using this card, especially when facing Terminators in the late game. Alternatively, you can replace the Luna Absorb with Night Steel card, which is an energy steel card. Well, we're gonna talk about it later. Next, we have the Backdoor Beast Axie. Well, possibly, it could have different card variation depending on player preferences, especially in relation to their team composition. But at the end of the day, this build must have the Care Build Jump card, which serve as the main ingredient of this build. Care Build Jump allows you to skip the closest target if there are 2 or more enemies remaining. This would bypass any front Axie, and obviously, this card is made to kill the mid laner, which most of the time don't have shield during the early game. As what I mentioned, we can use different set of cards to maximize the damage output. Well, the RIP build for guaranteed critical strike and energy recharge, or we can choose some high damage card like Jaguar that has 115 damage combined with the Sinister Strike that has 130 and a bonus of 250% damage on critical strike for an instant kill. So if you would to ask which one is better, well, the guaranteed critical strike or the high damage output, again, of course that would be depending on card combination. And finally, we have the pure PvP Beast Axie. This build is absolutely insane. The card set is comprised of Revenge Arrow, known as your Risky Beast, and Sinister Strike for pure burst damage. Well, of course, it has something to do with the high damage output coming from your Revenge Arrow and Sinister Strike. In comparison to your typical RIMP build that has a combined damage of 145 and a guaranteed critical strike when comboed with 2 or more cards, your Revenge Arrow Sinister Strike combined damage on the other hand is 255 and a chance to proc a 250% critical strike on enemy unit. That's a huge amount of burst damage coming from your Revenge and Dual Blade combo. But unlike the RIMP combo, which also guarantee you an additional energy recharge, this build relies heavily on other energy gain cards, either coming from your Beast Axie or your frontliner, which could be an energy build Plant Axie. On the other hand, Rise is also known as Night Steal, allows us to steal 1 energy from your opponent when comboed with another card. Again, remember, steal energy is much better than gain energy or destroy energy, because steal energy has dual purpose. It gives us energy return and destroy enemy energy as well. Unfortunately, when using this card, we need to be very observant, because one of its major drawback is that when your enemy has 0 energy remaining, neither you can steal nor gain energy from them. And it makes sense, right? So it would be useless if we use it against enemy that has 0 remaining energy. So take note of that. Finally, we have Confident, known as Self-Rally, and this would give us 2 morale, thus increasing our chance to proc a critical strike and also to activate our last stand, which is computed based on Axie's remaining HP and morale. That's why the higher remaining HP and morale the Axie have, the higher chance of activating its last stand. And take note of this card, it doesn't cost you any energy as well. So this build usually ranges from $800 to $1,000 as of now, depending again on the purity and breed count. And again, guys, always do your research first before buying any Axie on the marketplace. In addition, all prices are constantly changing, so the prices that we had mentioned might not be the same value a month from now. And always, guys, take every information with a little grain of salt, and thank you for watching.